Ooh, sorry, y'all, I had to wipe my hands. Those H-E-B sandwiches, man. Ooh, on point. Sarah shouldn't have had those sandwiches in front of my face. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on. So y'all heard Andrea ask a question, but she also is a presenter. Andrea's a good friend of mine. She's a partner, and she does appraisal. So what is an appraisal? Why do you need an appraisal? And what is the scoop on that? So we're going to bring Andrea to come up today to talk a little bit about what is an appraisal in the process. And just so you know, she's with Lavely and Associates LLC. So let's give her some encouragement as she walks up here. Look at that belt, y'all. Boy, look at Andrea to be sharp.
He always does that to me. Hello, everybody. I'm so glad to be here. I want to thank Sarah for giving me this opportunity, to get in front and speak about appraisals. I'm going to do much better, I think, on the question and answers, but I'm with Lavely and Associates, and I've been doing appraisals since 2009. I'm a certified general commercial and residential appraiser. I've been doing this independently. I started off in different forms of real estate. Worked at the appraisal district, worked as property tax consulting, and I'm also a partner with Connect Realty. But basically, the appraisal process, you have several different aspects of real estate. You have your lender, your insurance, and you have me, the appraisal person. So in the process of the real estate transaction, what will happen is you will find a property from Sarah, or realtor, and then you will go to your lender, and then at that point, the lender will contact me. And as an appraiser, my job is to basically go out, look at your property, and determine if that property is worth lending on. I'm looking at the lending as the market value aspect of a property. We do inspections, but there is a difference between what I do and what the inspector does. The inspector basically is looking at the condition of the property and making sure you're not buying a lemon. I also look at the condition, but I'm looking at what's your property worth in comparison to what properties are selling for. So the banks, before they want to loan you money, they definitely want to make sure that they are loaning on property if it's worth before they give that money to purchase that property. So that is my job. My job is to have an unbiased opinion. I'm not on the seller or the buyer side. It's just what is that property worth to make sure that you're not overpaying for a property. So I'm checking to make sure you're not getting cheated. Some, like what Mike was saying, some of the prices may be overinflated. They stay on the market a long time. It is my job to look at that and determine, hey, why is this property staying on the market so long? How many properties are out there in the neighborhood, and what are they selling for? So you don't pay what probably it should be. You have a property that's $200. Is it really worth $200? It might be really worth $150 or $140. So it's just to make sure that in the long run, you're not overpaying for a property and it's competitive in the open market. And so that's what my job is. I also, there is a difference between mass appraisals and independent appraisals. The district have their appraisals. The Jefferson County District, they have their appraisals, and that's mass appraisals. And people would like to look on those websites and say, hey, the appraisal district got my property at $70,000. The appraisal district got my property at $100,000. Well, the difference between the appraisal district and my information is that I'm looking at your property individually, whereas the appraisal district are doing a mass sweep. You may live in a neighborhood and you say, well, my property went up and I didn't do anything to my property. What happened? Well, what happened is you might be in an area, in a subdivision where you have several sales, okay, and you have several properties, and the appraisal district didn't go to your house. They just did like one one sweep. And with that one sweep, they adjusted your value to what they feel like your house should sell for. And that is why during the time you have a review period in January, and you'll go protest your value, okay? And you'll go talk to a panel, or you'll talk to an appraiser, and you'll present that information saying, hey, my house is not worth this much. Why? Because this is what's wrong with it, or this and that, or whatever. So basically, there is a difference between the mass appraisals, the appraisal district, Jefferson County Appraisal District, Dallas, Houston, and then what I do. Because I'm looking at your house individually, whereas the appraisal district is just looking at what they call a mass appraisal, and so it's just one big swoop. So during the process, when you're buying your property, you don't have to be, well, let me just say this, you don't have to be just buying your property. Say, for example, you're an investor and you want to see what your property is worth. You just want to also appraise your property during the tax season. You can call an appraiser. If you need your house measured, and you know, a lot of times the appraisal district may have you at a larger property, you done tore down something, that's when you would call the appraiser to come and do those differences and calculate your property square footage. So that is what I do. I just take it from a wide level to a smaller level, and I help individually. And I don't work for the lenders, but they will call me. And the thing about it is, whatever they say, whatever your property is worth, once you get there and you find a property you like, my job is to make sure you're not overpaying for a property, you're not getting gouged or something like that. So many things that we look at, you know, days on market, is this a seller's, is this a buyer's, what's the condition, and what other properties are going for. I take all that into consideration, and that is basically what I do. So anytime you guys need any information or anything like that, my card is on the table, or I think Sarah gave you a card. You just need some, like I said, information or anything like that, feel free to call me. You know, it's no charge just to give information, and I don't mind doing that. Thank you.
Good job.